Hello to everyone, this is Vishal and hope all are doing good. And my good wishes with you that you will improve yourself and do best things in your life. Okay, so here if you go in my past sessions and we have done a lot of things just like in the Kotlin tutorials, clean architectures, mvvm approaches, daggers, and will soon I will make a Kotlin with the daggers. So meanwhile, that is an important thing which is a part of your app that is called your testing. So here, if you hear about the TDD, that is called your test-driven development. So it's a important feature nowadays whenever you work with that. So I will explain in my coming sessions. Maybe I will make it 4 to 5 sessions related to the test-driven development. But today with the basic sessions of the testing in which we learn that how we can test, how we can implement the testing with your projects, with your apps, and that is an important features. So if you go with the testing, so what is the testing? And we can say that testing is an important part of the software development. By including the test with your code, you can ensure that your code additions work and that later changes don't break them. So there's a many definitions related to the testing. So the main thing is before, if your app, that means you have complete your app, and before it go in the testing phase, you know that the area of bugs because of you are doing the programming. And whenever you're doing the programming as a good programmer, you need a unit testing work from yourself. So that means you can bound the leakage, the other issues with your um, smartness. That is called your unit testing, and you can do that testing in development phase. So that's most important. And if you do the unit testing, that means half of your app part will be that is bugless. So it's good whenever you work with that app, you have to learn the testing also. So it's a requirement whenever you implement the things need to be tested. As a programmers, we already know the maximum chances of bugs where we have done during the work. So it's good to check all the bugs, all the areas, and make it perfect. So the testers say, yeah, it's a very good app, and many issues, that's common issues, not be there as in the testing phase. If you go with the testing, there are some test steps that we to learn today. So we have, if we go generally, we have a unit test, we have an integration test, operational system. I will explore one by one all the things, but today is the day of unit testing, and in unit testing I will explain the JUnit 4 test, how we can do that practically. And if you go for the TDD, is one way of ensuring to include test with your new code. When the following this process, you write the tests for the things you are adding before you write the code to implement it. So that means that is complete development is test driven development. If you watch my previous sessions of the clean architecture, if you add this test driven development with that clean architecture mvvm approaches, that means your app be superb. So that means you have to work in these two areas perfectly. I will explain a small app with the test driven development in my coming sessions, but today just say the things what is the test. And the small test, medium test, large test, we have a three kind of tests. So today we have to learn the small test. Small test generally we can say it unit test. That means we can generally say check that your edit text empty, and your phone number be the right, and your emails validations, a lot of things be there, the basic things be there. Then we go for the medium test, little bit high, and that means several components be there, and we integrate it, and larger the big application test. So I don't want to go with these two. I'm just talking about today the unit test and small test. So in, if you go with the Android studio tutorials be there, and if you go for the testing phase, so you can see that there is 70% small test. That means you can cover the 70% of the area. 70% of the area you have to cover, and 20% of the medium, and 10% of the large. So that means this area you will cover by unit test. Okay, and this is your pyramid, so you can download this image anywhere. And I will not explain this today. I just say the unit test, the basic things, and this basic area you will cover. And if you go with the testing, we have a lot of we can say that classes we have, packages we have, that is your Robo Electrics, we have a Mockito, we have a J Unit 4. So the default we are working with the J Unit 4 in your Android Studio. But today is the day for the J Unit 4. I will explain the Mockito and I will explain the Robo Electric also in the coming sessions, but one by one. And then we go with the complete mvvm, that means view model live data testings also. So these all stuffs we will walk. So today you just say that it is a small test. Small test is what? Small test is your unit test. How we can do that, I will show to you practically with the J Unit 4, just enough for you. And what is the TDD? That is the test driven development. That is the phase. Whenever we work with our applications, we have to work with our TDD also. That means it can cover the 70% of the area of the testings. So that means unit test. So that means you will make your test applications as a bug free. So it's good whenever you work with the programming side. Okay, and yeah, this one more definitions, but I will explain it on the other day whenever we work with actual clean architecture. The test driven development is a set of special unit testing techniques that mandate writing the task before the production code. While TDD might look complicated on the first sight, and I will show you it's actually what is the easiest way to learn. Okay, so that is, so we have some rules for the J unit. So I'm not going with at this time Android J unit 4. I'm going with the J unit 4. Okay, so here we have a integration testing. So these all we have, but today uh, just say how we can do a small test with the activity text views, with the activity edit text views, with your email validations. So these kind of stuffs we will learn. So whenever you work with this, you need a Android test implementation. We need some annotations, we have some rules, we have a runner. So first you have to make three things be implement in your Gradles. That is the most important implementation. Number one, annotations. Number two, rules. Number three, runner. And I will explain that what is this exactly. So here, whenever you create your test, we have an annotation at before. That means whenever your activity be run, that is the before phase. So here you can initialize your activity or other terms. And after means, that means your activity be completed. So that means your activity be null on this phase. And in the meanwhile phase, that is a medium phase, that's called the testing. So at test means is in the annotations provided by the JUnit framework for marking a method to test case. That means that is an important, then we have to test this test annotation area. Okay, so here I will explain you assert equals, assert true, and assert false. And practically we have many things for the assert. We have array, how we can check the recycler view values. So a lot of stuffs be there, but one by one. So today we learn assert equals, assert true, and assert false. That means you have to check the things with your assert. Assert true is a method provided by JUnit to check the input values. Assert true is a method provided by JUnit framework to assert the value inside its parenthesis as a true. That means forcibly check. And the same thing for the false, nothing else. So I will explain this in practical session. That's a very good feature for the robo electrics. Also you can do the unit test for that. And important testing with the view model, mvvm, clean architecture, these all be in coming sessions. So first we have to go for your uh, practical session. And yeah, one more thing I will explain to you, that whenever you work with the activity testing, that is simple testing, we have a service testing, we have a content provider testing, we have a operational testings, and we have a system testing also in Android. So these all we will cover in my coming sessions. So just go for the first thing is you have to use these three implementations to Gradle, and then we use these all annotations and methods. So let us start it. Okay, so in Android Studio, you can see that we have a important thing, that is a test implementation that is default in there, and but the important thing is we need to use these to be Android test implementation be things default there, that the rules, and if you know, you can use this and apply the implementation, and the rest of things is we need annotations and we need a runner. So we have a JUnit 4.12, we have our test rules, we annotations and runner. These important we for the JUnit 4 testing as a basic test. So today I'm not going with the view model, live data and other things. I just showed you the basic thing because of the learning phase. You just say that how we can work with the activity testings. So here you can see that here on we have a text view, and one I will make a edit text. So both the text we have to work. Here I'm applying the text value, the name Vishal. Okay, nothing else, just simple. So here nothing, we have a simple main activity. So the first rule, that is an important rule whenever you work with the test, and you just say the right go to and test. That is the most important. You go to the main activity, right click, go to and create the new test. So you can say that here you have a main activity test, simple. I want a tear down, that is after. I want a before, and we need a two tags here, that is called setup, tear down, or you can say the before and after annotations. I don't want to go with this. There will be the methods. If you use the show inherited methods, I don't explain today, but I will explore you one by one. So I'm don't go with the, I'm just taking these to be before and after be here. Okay, and okay, and say you can see that here we have a Android test and test. So whenever you do this kind of testing, that means a basic testing without any robo electric or other features, I'm using the simple Android test here because of the rules working in this phase or area. Because of most of the users saying that yeah, there's issues in the Stack Overflow, I will explain the things. That is that is yeah. So activity test rule, what is the activity test rule? I will explain that. So whenever you work with that, it give me issues. So that means they are kept in the test Java package, and there is that kept into a the second is Android test Java package. So there's a difference whenever you work with that. So whenever you work with the simple compilation as a Mockito, RoboElectric, JUnit, I will explain you how in there. But at this time, you have to work with Espresso and JUnit testing as in a unit, but with Android test. Okay, with the rules. So how we can do that? So this is, so the first step be clear. We have a before, we have a after. That's the basic step. Now we have to go for the first and important area, that is called your at we need some rule. So this is your rule. So here I will explain what is the rule. Actually, first thing is this must be your public, and here you can see that activity test rule. That means you have to apply your which activity you have to work for the testing. So that's the thing Android give to you. So that is your object, and this is your new activity test rule, and you can say that this is your main activity dot class. So that be the rule for the activity. So I'll explain this what is exactly. So whenever you work with the activity test rule, this rule provides functional testing of a single activity. That means this activity test rule, the object implements by the test rule. It is inherited by the test rule here. So the rule provides functional testing of single activity. When launch activity is set to true in the constructor, the activity under test will be launched before each test annotated with the test and before methods annotated with the before, and it will terminated after the test is completed and methods annotated with the after are finished. That means whenever we work with your activity test rule, there is some before, there is some after. That means you have to introduce the things, and when it catch that activity in which we have to test, it complete the test, and then after that it tear down it. So how? We'll show you. So first you have to make this rule, and here you can say that private main activity, because of we are working with that test with the main activity, and that means this is your before. That means before means here you have to check that your activity be exist or not. That is your test rule. So this is the first main activity, and your activity test rule dot get activity. That means on that activity we have to do the testing, and after means we have to main activity is equals to null, nothing else. Okay, so what is exactly? So this will provide the functional testing of a single activity. When launch activity is set to true in the constructor, the activity under the test will be launched before each test annotated with the test. Okay, so that means this is your activity B. Here we can declare, and here we have a add test in which we have to test which kind of test we are working. So here I want be a test that is called a public void test act, or whatever you give the name to this. It's your methods. So that means you can see this is the run. So here I'm checking that whether this value be exist or its value be Vishal or not. Maybe some issues with our text when I want to find that something. So what to do? Here on the activity test, you check your private text view, and on this text view you have to check this text view as in your activity main activity dot find view by id r dot id dot text one. Okay, so that means we can initialize and check that yeah, this text will be exist or not. So this is your first time. Whenever you run this test, it automatically check the setup, then run the test, and if completion be successful, then it make it null. So here your test act, and I want to check it whether the name values be properly be there or not, if there be exist or not. I will explain you these things with the data bindings also. So but here you can check that. So here we can say that if we say assert equal, first explanations for the assert equal, and I want with the expected Vishal, and here I am checking the text view dot get text dot toString. That is the most important if you work with the get text dot toString. Otherwise it fails your test because of this is the string and this is not a string. It is a text values with here. Okay, so how you can run that? You can run that. You can say the run test act and say yeah on the Jenny motion, and it run the values be here. And let's see what happened. So this is a simple testing features whenever you work. This is the very first phase of our learning. Then I will explain you now for the edit text also how you can do that once it completes the task. Okay, so you can check, see there it is your initiating the test and the running test, and you can say the all test passed. That means it is perfect, our name be equal, or you can check it assert not null also. So you can check it by the null values be there or not. So here if I'm using some other name, just I am checking that this name is Vishal or not, text one values be. If this is if this one is something other, so just like say GGG. Okay, so and I want to check that our input values be something other, and our exact values be something other. How can cross check the things be there? You can check the empty, you can check the not null, lot of stuffs be there. So how the test fail? You can see that this is the red mark, and it shows to you that it is a GGG, but Vishal is expected. So that means this is your the first test fail. And if I say this is the Vishal and run this test again, it show me that it's a perfect. So you can see that it is that is running test and all test pass. Okay, so that is perfect test. So this is your assert equals, and you will try that is assert not equals not null. So these be the string, this be the values be there. Okay, you can check that object be exist or not with the null values or not. So you these be all stuffs. So today you just learn how we can do the assert equals. Now if we go for the activity main edit text, how we can do that? This is your edit one, and in the edit one I want to cross check the things, the input values I want to cross check, and also I will check the email validations for this. So how we can do that? So this is a very simple example. uh, okay, so first we needed a private. This is your edit text, and this is your edit text as in your main activity dot find view by id r dot id dot edit one. Once cross check it, it is edit one or not. Yes, this is edit one, and I want to do some test with this. So I say if this values be exist or not. Okay, so here the same thing, first we have to check that whether it exists or not. So I'm checking this is Vishal again, and this is your edit text dot get text, and I don't want to go with the string. Okay, so first I'll go with the string, then we'll show to you what happen if you don't use the string be there. So run this test, and what it show to you, because of there is no value be Vishal for the equal assert equals. So it give you an error. But if you use the same thing as you're doing with the text view with the name, it works, that is edit text values. Okay, so that means you can I just want to show to you that you can test each by one your just like if you use these all edit text with the registration field, and you can want to cross check the things there. So these all stuff you will learn that. And yeah, I will show you the how we can, because of some using the pattern and some using the edit text values, that be email validations values be there. So if you go with the this kind of methods for the validation, just like if you say I copy paste this method, simple email pattern, and if you use this method be here, and you want to check that, you want to cross check the things be here for is valid uh, here or not. So first thing is, if you're using the private method for testing, you need it to make it public, because of you can access that on your main activity test, that is called here is valid or not. Okay, so here I want to check that whether this, so here we have a very good term that is called assert true, and here we have a Boolean condition, because of this is our Boolean condition is valid email. So here I want to check that if I insert like values aa@gmail.com, and I want to check that it is your edit text dot your get text, sorry edit no, you can go for your main activity, you can go for the main activity dot is valid mail, because of here we need that. And you can say the edit text dot get text dot 2 is 3. So you have to check this is your valid mail or not. You have to cross check the things. Okay. And here, okay, here I'm putting nothing. So run this test and see what happens. So that means it can cross check your methods also. Whatever be your methods you are using in your main activity, you can cross check one by one there. Your phone validations, your email validations, your blank, whenever you work with this kind of issues, because of mostly this kind of small issues be uh, hang your project. So that's not good. So it's a basic testing today. So it show me that yeah, this is a fail because of there be no any values it can get from the text site. So here I am putting the text and I'm using the same aa@gmail.com. So that is maybe if you just putting this kind of text inside, so you can use that statically and run that again on this face because of it get empty on that case here. So it's a perfect testing. That means if you maybe you can skip the things whenever you work with direct main activities, but whenever you work with this kind of test, it never skip the things. So whenever you hang on somewhere on that means whether your code be doing right or wrong, you just go for the unit testing and check. So you can see that all tests passed. So that means your validations, email validations be working perfectly. Okay. If you go with another method, maybe sometimes we can use this kind of method. I will explain. This is your other method, and you can say that this is your private, and we can say this is a boolean and is valid mail generation, and here I'm passing some email value, and in this email value I'm say return we have a Android dot, and this is your util, and here we can have a patterns, yes, patterns, and that patterns here I want with the email address patterns. Okay. And in this email address patterns dot I want with the matcher, and this email value we want to match, and this dot matches. So that means we have to return these things, but here it is a private. So let's see what happened. Then we go with that. I'm not using this assert true at this time. You can use the assert false also, it depends on you. So here aa@gmail.com, you can pass it the blank or other things whatever be you need it. Okay, and you can say that your main activity dot method, no, because of it is not a public, so you can get access the public methods be here, so you can check that again. Yes, this is your is mail, and the rest of the things copy paste it, that is your string. So it's good to check that whether it is equal or not. So that means it's perfecting, we our input be perfect, so it go with the all test pass. So let's see for this kind of values of methods. So very interesting whenever you work with the test, a lot of things be here and interesting features be here. So whenever you work with the roboelectric, that also be very interesting testing phase. So all test passed. So that means this is your next assert to be okay. So this kind you can learn the things on your main activity methods. You can call them in your main activity test and check that your methods be working perfectly or not. I will explain your custom methods also, and you can do in coming sessions view model methods, live activity data comes from the your web services or the room, you can do the testing each and everywhere. So that's your model, your clean architecture, your this kind of stuffs be perfect work. Okay, so thank you so much for the day, and so we can continue this tour with the more testings. That means TDD, that is testing driven development, and this testing driven development sessions be along. That means in my coming sessions, I will explain the things with the app also. Your clean architecture, mvvm models, a lot of things be there. So we can continue these sessions with my playlist. So this is the first one. Thank you so much, and we'll wind up for the day. Thank you.